Have you ever felt like you're just stuck? You're doing all the right things, but you're just not making the kind of progress you want to see. Well, today we're going to dive into a simple, but honestly, an incredibly powerful formula for breaking right through that feeling. It's all about how these tiny 1% improvements can stack up to create some truly extraordinary results.
So, to get a handle on this, I want to introduce you to a guy named Ken. If you looked at him today, you'd see a guy who's got it all figured out, happy with his family, his career, his life. But, and this is the key, it wasn't always this way. In fact, just 6 months ago, his life looked completely, and I mean completely different.
6 months ago, Ken was just miserable, seriously. He was fighting with his wife, his kids were acting out, and he felt like his job was hanging by a thread. He was totally stuck in a rut. And the worst part was, he couldn't even tell you how he got there. It just kind of happened. And the crazy thing was, he started looking around and realized he wasn't alone. He saw that same quiet struggle in his friends, his family, pretty much everyone. And it made him wonder, is this just what being an adult is? This slow grind into just being fine? I mean, does that sound at all familiar to you? Ken's big breakthrough came from the most unexpected place, the sidelines of his son Jack's soccer game. He was just blown away by how much better the team was this year. He had to go ask the coach, a guy named Jim, what his secret was. And that one little conversation, it changed everything for him. So Coach Jim started by asking him a simple question. Think about the Olympics. We see these incredible athletes who all look like they're at the absolute peak of human performance. But what's the real difference between the person who wins the gold medal and the one who just misses the podium and gets nothing? The answer, it turns out, is shockingly small. Get this. In the 2006 men's Olympic skiing event, the time difference between the gold medalist and the fourth-place finisher, the person who went home with no medal, was just 1.08 seconds. That works out to a performance gap of less than 1%. Tiny. Or if you want an even crazier example, remember Michael Phelps winning his 7th gold medal back in 2008? He won that race by 1/100th of a second. The performance difference between gold and silver was a mind-boggling 0.002%. You literally cannot blink that fast. It's insane. So here's the big takeaway. Coach Jim looked at event after event, and he found that on average, the gap between being really good and being a true legend is only about 1%. Greatness isn't about being 100% better than everyone else. It's about being just 1% better in a few really important areas. And this is what makes the whole idea so powerful, right? The thought of being 100% better than our competition, that feels totally impossible. But the coach's point was simple. We can all get 1% better at hundreds of little things. And suddenly, that feels doable. Okay, so Ken was totally hooked on this idea, but he immediately hit a new wall. I mean, knowing you need to improve is one thing, but actually finding the motivation to do it is something else entirely. He found his answer from another unlikely source, a top sales executive named Carlos, who let him in on a huge secret about how motivation really works. Most of us, and I used to think this way too, see motivation as a one-way street. We think we have to feel motivated first, and then that feeling will somehow push us to take action. So we sit around and we wait for inspiration to strike. But what if that's completely backward? Carlos laid out the secret, and it's a game changer. Motivation isn't the cause of action, it's the effect. It's not a street, it's a loop. It turns out that taking action, even a really, really small action, is the thing that actually creates the motivation to do more. Action is the spark that starts the whole engine. So here's how this loop works. You start by taking just one small action. Then you complete it and you get a tiny win, right? A little feeling of success. That success generates a spark of real, genuine motivation. And that motivation makes it easier to take the next action, which leads to another win, and the cycle just keeps feeding itself and growing. You don't wait for the engine to start. You kickstart it yourself. Okay, so action creates motivation. But how do you keep that fire going? How do you maintain that momentum? Well, Ken learned the next piece of the puzzle from his next mentor, a physicist named Pat, who explained that the keys to long-term success are actually hidden in two fundamental laws of physics. The first law is one you definitely remember from high school science, inertia. An object at rest tends to stay at rest, which is why getting off the couch can feel like the hardest thing in the world. But here's the crucial part for us. An object in motion tends to stay in motion.
You see, inertia is a double-edged sword. When you're trying to start something new, it's your biggest enemy. It's that resistance, that feeling of being stuck. But the second you take that first small action and get yourself moving, inertia flips and becomes your best friend. It helps you build momentum, making it so much easier to show up the next day and the day after that. So inertia helps you keep going. But the second law of physics helps you decide where to go. And this idea comes from the ancient Greek thinker Archimedes, who famously said he could move the world if he just had a lever. He understood the incredible power of leverage, getting massive results from a small, very focused effort. Leverage is all about finding the exact right place to apply your effort. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about finding that one small action that, like a lever, creates a huge, disproportionate result. This is how you find your most impactful 1% improvements. So how do you find those leverage points? A really powerful way is to use the 20-80 principle. You've probably heard of it. It says that in almost anything you do, 20% of your actions will create 80% of your results. The secret isn't doing more stuff, it's about finding and focusing on that critical 20%. That's your lever. All right, so let's put it all together. We've got the 1% mindset, we've got the motivation loop, and we've got the physics of success with inertia and leverage. Let's combine all of this into a simple 4-step formula you can use to get yourself out of any rut and start building incredible momentum, literally starting today. Here it is, the 1% formula. Step 1, start with action. Seriously, don't wait to feel motivated. Just pick one small, high-leverage task and do it. Step 2, build momentum. Do it again tomorrow. Get inertia on your side. Step 3, find your 1%. Always be on the lookout for those tiny improvements that give you the biggest bang for your buck. And finally, step 4, repeat. Let that motivation loop do its thing, fuel your progress, and just carry you forward. And that really brings us to the most important point of all. This is not about some massive overnight life transformation. It's just about starting the cycle. So forget about next week, forget about tomorrow even. The only question that really matters right now is this one. What is the single 1% improvement you are going to make today?